In this video, we're exposing 6 things the tire industry hopes you never learn. The door sticker lie, the real pressure your tires actually need, the TPMS warning trap, the seasonal pressure drain, the nitrogen scam, and who profits every time you replace your tires years too early. By the end of this video, you'll never look at that door sticker the same way again. Let's start with the biggest myth of them all. First up, the door sticker lie. Here's something nobody tells you when you buy a car. That number on your door sticker, 32 psi, 35 psi, whatever yours says, that is not the optimal pressure for your tires, not even close. That number wasn't designed to maximize tire life. It wasn't designed for fuel efficiency, and it definitely wasn't designed for performance. It was designed for liability, specifically, the worst-case scenario. Picture this situation. 5 adults in the car, a trunk packed with luggage, driving 75 miles per hour on a hot summer highway. That's the scenario engineers use to determine the minimum safe pressure needed to support the maximum possible load. But let's be honest, that's not how most people drive. Most of the time it's just you, maybe one passenger, maybe some groceries. Your car is carrying hundreds of pounds less weight than it was designed for, and that completely changes what pressure your tires actually need. So, what happens when pressure is too low? When you run 32 psi in a lightly loaded car, the tire loses its shape, the sidewalls flex too much, the contact patch spreads wider, and the worst part? The center of the tire lifts slightly off the road, which means all the weight shifts to the outer edges of the tread, so the edges wear out fast, while the center barely touches the pavement. That's exactly what happened to my tires. At 18,000 miles, the center still looked new. But the shoulders were completely destroyed, and that raised a question I couldn't stop thinking about. If low pressure wears tires out faster, who benefits? Because it definitely isn't you. You're the one buying new tires 20,000 miles early. Here's the secret most drivers never hear. The correct pressure for your tires has nothing to do with your car. It has everything to do with your tire. And, the number you need is already printed right there on your tire. Just take a look at the sidewall. You'll see something like max pressure 51 psi. That's what the tire was actually engineered to handle. Not 32, not 35, 51 psi. Now here's where it gets interesting. The ideal pressure for even tire wear, better fuel economy, and sharper handling is typically 10 to 15% below the maximum. So for a tire rated at 51 psi, the sweet spot is usually between 38 and 42 psi. Not 32, not 35, 38 to 42. Why does this sound scary? Well, if you've spent your whole life running 32 psi, 40 sounds, honestly, dangerously high. But think about it for a second. If the tire is rated for 51 psi, running 40 psi is only about 78% of its capacity. You're not over-inflating the tire. You're actually running it closer to its intended design. So, here's my experiment. After replacing my destroyed set, I decided to try something different. Same tire brand, same model, and honestly, the same driving habits. The only thing I changed was the pressure. I set it at 40 psi instead of 32, and wow, the results were honestly kinda shocking. I've now driven 35,000 miles on this set, and the tread wear is perfectly even. At this rate, they'll easily pass 70,000 miles. That's nearly 4 times longer than my first set lasted. Which, saves about $300 every year. And all of this just from ignoring that little sticker. Next up, let's talk about the TPMS Trap. Most people think, if something goes wrong, my TPMS light will warn me. But, not really. Because TPMS doesn't warn you when your pressure is just a little bit low. It only warns you when the pressure is dangerously low. The light triggers when your pressure drops 25% below the recommended level. So if your door sticker says 32 psi, the warning light won't even come on until you hit around 24 psi. And at 24 psi, your tires are already in some serious trouble. You've got heat buildup, longer stopping distances, poor handling, the works. You could be destroying your tires for months before that light ever shows up. Think of TPMS like a smoke detector. It doesn't warn you when smoke just starts. It screams when the house is already on fire. Here's another thing most drivers never really notice: the seasonal pressure drain. Your tires naturally lose pressure as temperatures change. For every 10 degrees Fahrenheit drop, your tires lose about 1 psi. So, let's say you set your tires to 40 psi in the summer, and then winter rolls around, and temperatures drop 50 degrees. You just lost 5 psi without even touching the tire. That 40 psi is now 35 psi. And if winter gets even colder, it could drop to 30 psi. All of that happens without a single leak. That's why the best habit, honestly, is super simple. Check your pressure once a month, and especially during those big fall and spring temperature swings. Finally, let's talk about the nitrogen scam. You've probably seen this at dealerships. Premium nitrogen tire inflation for $5 to $10 per tire. They claim nitrogen holds pressure longer, reduces temperature changes, and extends tire life. Sounds scientific, right? But here's the reality. Regular air is already 78% nitrogen. So what exactly are they selling you? Just an extra 20% purity, that's it. And studies show nitrogen only retains about 1 psi better over an entire year. 1 psi. That's less than the difference between a warm afternoon and a cold morning. For everyday driving, nitrogen really makes almost no practical difference at all.